Oh yeah, WSJU Radio. DJ Mad Max is on the airwaves here at St. John's University, Queens, New York. And we have a very special guest in the building tonight. Bobby J From Rockaway. Mr. Summer Classics himself.
Yo, appreciate you, bro. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, no doubt. I really wanted to get you back in here. Shout out to Greg.
Yeah.
Getting that date done and having you back in the booth with me.
Yeah,
man. So, what's it like after Summer Classics right now? You dropped the debut banger.
It's dope, man. I mean, I was just, when I put it out, I was like, I'm just happy to be putting out a full-length project, you know what I mean? Prior to that, like, I pretty much just been doing singles, like single releases with videos, and, I wanted to give the people that were following me, like, a full project to digest, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now that it's out, it's definitely picking up momentum. It's gotten a great response.
Hip Hop Kings just posted you alive as well.
Yeah. Shout out to Hip Hop Kings. I mean, Hip Hop DX. Shout out to my man Riley Wallace. It's been getting a lot of love. So it's kind of the first of many. You know what I mean? I think in this day and age, you pretty much got to drop a project like every 3 to 4 months. So expect new music soon.
Yeah. So I know you're a product of Kwame too. Yeah. What's he said about the release of the album?
I think he's just proud of me, man, because we've been working together for so long, and there's been a lot of ups and downs in both of our careers. You know what I'm saying? And
well, you said that before, especially with the Biggie diss, how he basically was done after that, but he came back.
Yeah. I mean, it's he's a good example to follow because after all that stuff went down, he could have easily just kind of tucked his tail between his legs and stopped. You know what I mean? But he never gave up despite all the negativity in the air. Hip hop fans could be such bandwagon jumpers, you know what I'm saying? So there was definitely a point where the hip hop fans and community had like completely turned their back on him, and his name was cold, but he just kept pushing forward and managed to completely reinvent himself as a producer. So I've always kind of looked at that as like an example of just how to I guess be successful, because the only one that's going to quit the music industry is you. Like, you can't get fired. This is something that you just have to be persistent with and kind of roll with the punches. So I've always looked at that as the example to follow, and that's just kind of how I've always looked at it and how I've approached things. So the breakfast bars and all the videos and all the singles I've been putting out up to this point kind of culminated in the release of this album, Summer Classics, and it's like I said, it's the first of many.
You dropped some fire freestyles. The Nas and Q-Tip, we tagged them.
Yeah.
KRS-One, we tagged them. You spitting heat over them.
Yeah, man. I mean, I always try to, it's exercise to me, you know what I mean? I feel like even though, there's projects out there and stuff like that, like, you always got to give the people that follow you something to look forward to. So I try to do something, every week, bi-weekly. Like now, I'm a lot busier now, which is a good thing, so I don't always have time to like do the breakfast bar stuff, which is like the freestyle series that I do every week. But I try my best to just keep feeding the fans and the people that follow me with content, you know what I mean? So that's part of it. So you go on my IG, which is at Bobby J From Rockaway, like you'll scroll through my feed, you'll see like a ton of that stuff.
A ton of freestyles. And especially videos off of the album, which you've done for. And you know what? I think you have a huge audience, especially hip hop purists like myself.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you're making music that you love to listen to.
Exactly.
And it's refreshing for once. To not have an artist that sells out for the game just to make a few dollars.
Yeah, 100%.
In the mainstream. I appreciate the way you're going, especially for me, because when I'm going around, especially on campus, I'm walking around listening to Nas, Big Pun, and even you. Summer Classics is in my playlist.
Thank you, man.
I'm not listening to Migos or Cardi B. I'm sorry if it offends anyone, but
I think people could like both, though. You know what I mean? It's not.
There's a lot of stubborn heads out here, to be honest. I've had a lot of arguments with people around campus that just says, that stuff's boring.
I mean, look, it's you got to factor in context too. Some kids have never even given it a chance. They just think, if it's not trap music, it's old and outdated. You know what I mean? But I think there is a lot of young kids that do care and do go back and listen. So, I don't write off anybody. I don't think like just because somebody like isn't in my age bracket that they're not going to get it. I know for me, and I heard someone say this recently, and it was true. Actually, it was Questlove. He's like, it's on the older generation to teach the younger kids about the music that came before them. You know, you can't get mad at a 15 or 16-year-old kid for not knowing about like a Nas or like a Mobb Deep or whatever, because, you know, they're just listening to what their friends are listening to or what's accessible. So, you know, at the same time, you can't get mad at it. You got to kind of educate people. And I think I was kind of the same way. You know, when I was younger and I was listening to 90s music, I looked at the 80s the same way. You know, I didn't understand Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, well, not necessarily them, like just 80s rap in general sounded quote unquote dated to me. And it took for me to, like, you know, understand the context of how those albums came out, you know, the impact they had. Also working with Kwame, who was from that era, like educating me on that stuff. And then as I got older, I appreciated it more. So I think kids will come around, you know, and it's not this binary thing where it's like, okay, I like Migos, but I can't like Nas. I think you can like both. You know what I'm saying?
I think you can.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I'm done with Migos. I've checked out a trap. I'm fully on board with that real hip hop.
Hey,
I'm fully on that board. I've listened to both because that's the problem with this audience, especially the younger audience, is that they don't give it a chance, as you said. And if they did, they might like it.
Well, I think like also, you know, if a young kid thinks, you know, like Cole or Kendrick is the best, right? Rapping right now, which I think you can make an argument for either of them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're clearly inspired by, you know, the same people that I'm inspired by, the people that came up in the mid to late 90s. You know, you look back on their influences, you know, those are the people you're going to run into. So, you know, I think it's important to understand, like, for these young kids at least, like, shit, like, if I like Kendrick, if I like Cole, let me see where they got their style from.
Yeah.
And then you start to understand, like, the context and stuff. And I think that's important, you know what I mean?
And they should definitely look back on Kendrick Lamar's Grammy speech when he said, "This is for Doggy Style, this is for Nas, for Illmatic, we'll live forever." That's something that this generation needs to hear. So they can go back and do that research.
Yeah, man.
That's why when Kendrick said that at the Grammys, I'll forever respect that because he paid homage to what came before him.
Yep. Yeah, man. And that's like a big thing with me. It's like, you know, when I want people to listen to my music and especially like older hip hop heads that listen to it, I want them to be able to listen to it and say, oh, okay, like he was influenced by this guy or he's inspired by this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's little Easter eggs and stuff in the music where they'll know, like, all right, like he understands his hip hop history, like he did his research, but at the same time, it's accessible where a younger kid will like it as well. You know what I mean?
I know you're a big, huge cannabis fan. You said on the show last time, so you're always trying to spit like cannabis when you were younger, too.
Yeah. There was just, I think, like, by the time I was, like, 12 or 13, you know, the internet had kind of just, like, started to pop. You know, I just got it in my house. Like, all the downloading software was, like, brand new, and I was just going nuts because I was like, damn, like, I could just get any music I want, and like being a hip hop fan and just kind of being a junkie and just always wanting to discover new music and discover artists that were like people that I already liked. That's kind of how I found out about a lot of underground people. So, you know, Cannabis, Big L, Chino XL, you know, Killer Priest, you know, Corrupt, like all these dudes that were lyrical rappers at the time, I pretty much discovered through the internet. So, and those guys were super influential to me.
Speaking of Killer Priest, you also have a new song with him, The Collector, off of Summer Classics. How about we get into that, and when we come back, we'll talk about it.
Yep, The Collector, produced by Kwame, featuring Killer Priest. What up, Killer Priest?
That's right. Let's get into it. Mad Max, Bobby J from Rockaway. You know what it is when you hear it.
Black skies baptized with oil from a vessel. The hands of rabbis gleaming with
fire.
oil freckles.
He's logical too.
Maybe smoke till I was forgetful. Sad eyes and
I think he's underrated.
Watch the months on the calendar fall like rose petals. Priests I swam out of the gene pool, then went straight into the steamroom to clean the evil. Did drugs illegal and lethal. A pinch of bath salt on a teaspoon. The The Phantom
Yeah,
with
there
his
wasn't that
mask
much
on,
stuff that
making
came out this
B-rolls.
summer that
Say
I really liked. I like your album, and Milano and Chopin dropped a project from DITC. Boulevard Author, tough.
I mean, I'm so out of the loop. I mean, I've been hearing like shit is dope. You know, I heard a little bit of Little Brother's album. I was kind of turned off that Ninth Wonder wasn't producing on it, but from what I heard, that shit was dope. I know Merce has an album with Ninth Wonder that I heard was dope. I don't know, man. I'm the worst when it comes to like listening to new albums, you know. A lot of it's just I don't want to be influenced, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I hear some shit is dope and like I'll check out a song or two, but as far as like me like sitting down and listen to a whole project, like I pretty much only listen to old shit.
Yeah,
Or
same.
try to like dig and like find like obscure shit, because then it's like if I listen to too much of one thing, you know, I'll get completely sidetracked and get influenced, and I don't want that to happen. By the way, can I curse on you?
Oh no, actually not. Yeah, you're fine though.
Okay.
Yeah. People have said shit on my show so many times before, like it's never got back to me.
You know, I'm usually doing like satellite radio stuff.
Yeah,
I don't really
serious,
care.
right? Stuff like that.
But like, you know, sometimes like I did.
You came up here last time. You didn't do it once, so you were fine.
I just need to make sure.
Yeah,
I always
you're
check
fine.
because like I did this dude Jay Hart show, and he's on FM radio in London, so I couldn't curse at all. But I definitely like said shit and like let a couple curses fly. So
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
don't want to get you in trouble.
Trust me, there's been people who've said worse things on these airwaves than what you said. Trust me. I know, because I'm the programming director. I have to hear all that. Ready?
Yeah.
WSJU Radio, The Collector, Bobby J, and Killer Priest. Let's get into that. And how was that recording session?
It was dope, man. You know, I've met Killer Priest before. I didn't get to be in the studio when we did it, but me and him had a relationship through my boy Sean, who grew up with me and lives in downtown LA. Priest stays in LA, and he linked us up, and there was just a mutual respect. And it was kind of like surreal because, again, like Priest was kind of part of that whole Wu-Tang and then Cannabis Camp with the Four Horsemen. So
Yeah.
he was somebody that was like a big inspiration for me growing up, and I've always respected him as a rapper, as a lyricist, and thought he was super underrated. So I remember I had the beat kind of lying around, and it just kind of sounded like something that would fit his style. So I sent it to him. You know, I sent it to him, I think, with like a verse and a hook idea that I ended up changing. Because I sent it to him, he did what he did, and I was like, nah, I gotta change. I gotta change what I did. Just because he took it to the next level, you know what I mean? And I appreciated that because it made me step my game up, you know? So it was just, it's one of my favorite songs on the album. I think a lot of people gravitate towards that one too. It's kind of like a curveball when you listen to the project in its entirety, but I love it.
It's a real
you know what I
gritty,
mean?
tough banger.
Yeah, it's dope, man. So shout out to Killer Priest, man. You know, one of my favorite rappers. Anybody who's listening who's not familiar with him, go check out Heavy Mental, and then listen to everything after that, man.
The '98 album.
Yeah, man. That's the album that kind of did it for me. And like I said, he's super underrated. Like one of the best rappers I've ever heard. So go give him a listen if you haven't.
Yes, sir. And you've had a lot of great collabs on this album as well as MOP.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Little Fame.
Yep.
He's on Hook Drop. You know, there's a video out for that now. Fame, again, man, just like super surreal to work with him. Like, that's somebody that's not only a legend, in my opinion, you know, somebody, again, that I grew up listening to. Like, I was such a huge DR period and DJ Premier fan. So I remember, like, when the Warriors album came out and, like, Firing Squad, like, those albums were just riddled with Premier beats. So, you know, I bought them just off the strength of that, became a huge fan, went back, checked out the rest of their catalog, and, you know, I was always just a huge MOP fan. So for Fame to get on the song with me was just an honor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he absolutely killed it. You know, I made the song with him in mind. You know, MOP makes fight music, so that was like, again, that was like a similar situation to the Priest thing. You know, I had this beat lying around. It kind of sounded like something you would hear on Fight Night. And I pretty much, you know, came up with the concept of like, I'm going to try and make all these boxing references and fight references and send it to him and see what he thinks. And he turned his verse around in like a week, you know, and we had the hook idea. We went back and forth on the hook. And I just thought he absolutely nailed it, man. And then, you know,
Both of you guys nailed it.
Yeah. You know, I'm a humble guy, so like
Yeah.
I'm always.
I like that though. Always stay humble.
Yeah, I'm
always tell
gonna give
myself
respect to the legends first, you know.
Mhm.
But again, man, shout out to Little Fame. The video's out now. It's called Hook Drop. That's produced by Kwame too. And just a super cool dude in general. You know, the fact that he did it, turned it around so quickly, came and did the video as well. Like, you know, a lot of times, like I tell people, there's been times where you meet people that you look up to or rappers that you listen to, and you're like, damn, you know, I wish I never met that guy, you know, like, and it kind of sullies your opinion of them, because sometimes people aren't the person you think they're going to be in person, and it couldn't have been further from the truth with him. Like, he was just a super cool dude, you know, and just real professional too. So shout out to Little Fame. If you haven't checked it out, single's called Hook Drop, produced by Kwame.
Yes, sir. And that video was hype too.
Yeah, man. My boy Llama did that one. We did that in like a basement in Bushwick, like this grimy looking basement. Yeah, Llama's like pretty much my main videographer. He's done all my videos up to this point. He did the Let Me Breathe video, did the Walter White video, he did the Hook Drop video, he did my Hometown video. So shout out to him, man.
Hometown's another hit.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about Hook Drop, how we throw it on the air here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's
Hook
get
Drop.
into it. Let's get into it. Hook Drop, you know what it is when you hear it. Bobby J, Lil Fame, real hip hop. Stay tuned. You know what I was thinking too?
What?
Take a picture of this and your fans can call in. Just screenshot that and put it in your story and people will call in. What did I tell you last time I had you up here? You're a new Pete Nice. You are. You remind me a lot of Pete Nice. And Pete Nice he was really good. That Dust to Dust album was good.
Yo, it's funny, like, so many people have said that, and I was never like a third base.
Yeah, you told me that last time in the
I respect him, but I didn't hear the Cactus album until I was like in my 20s, you know what I mean? Like,
again, that's 80s rap. You're still trying to figure out that generation.
well, yeah, well, I was always a big Beastie Boys fan.
Oh, yeah.
And shit like that, but yeah, I knew who Surge was, and you know, I knew like Step Into the AM and Gas Face and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a great album.
But I never listened to him like that. So people hit me all the time, like, yo, you remind me of like a new Pete Nice, and I'm not like offended by it. I'm just like, that's weird because I didn't really listen to him.
Trust me, take that as a compliment, man. I listened to that Dust to Dust album. That album's fire. I think he was better solo than with third base.
Yeah,
because he was able to display all his skills on the album. He didn't have to share it with Serge. So he was able to display all his skills on all the songs.
Yeah, well, they're kind of like beefing now.
Oh, him and Serge?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't even know. I know that they broke up, but I don't know about the beef.
Yeah, they don't fuck with each other. You follow Rushtown 298 on Instagram?
I've heard of it.
That's Pete Nice.
Rushtown?
Yeah, he doesn't make it obvious that it's Pete Nice, but it's all like vintage hip hop pictures. So he has like all these ill, you know, pictures of like 80s rappers and shit like that. And
oh, that's him? That's
that's Pete Nice.
I might have to hit him up. Call him to the show. That's one of my favorite rappers. I didn't realize he had an Instagram.
He doesn't make it obvious that it's him, but it's, you know, if you've been following him, like you kind of connect the dots, and then there was some shit that happened with Serge. Like a couple days ago where Rakim was like, Serge, I love you, but I'll smack the shit out of you because...
On Sear.
Yeah, because Serge was putting out the story that Step Into the AM was supposed to be for Rakim, and like, Sear kind of fucked it up though, because Sear like presented it like saying like, yo, Serge said you wrote for
Rakim, yeah.
And that's not really what happened.
Yeah,
and then anyway,
you got it in your story?
Yeah.
Alright, let's get to it. WSJU Radio, Mad Max, Bobby J from Rockaway with the hook drop, Lil Fame MOP. And
Yeah.
as I was telling you off air, and in our last interview, you remind me of a new Pete Nice.
Yeah, it's funny. I take that as a compliment because, you know, those guys, third base one, MC Search, you know, he's from Fall Rockaway, one of the few artists, you know, from out there, like aside from obviously Chinks and Stack Bundles that like really made a name for himself. You know, there's only like, I could count the people from Rockaway on one hand that have really, you know, made like a serious imprint in hip hop. So just off general principle, like, you have nothing but respect for Search and third base, and obviously Pete Nice. But it's funny when people say, "Yo, you remind me of a new Pete Nice." It's confusing because you know, like when I was growing up, I didn't hear the Cactus album until I was in my 20s. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously I've heard it at this point. I knew Step Into the AM, I knew the Gas Face and stuff like that, but I wasn't a fan at like that early age, like I was, say, you know, like a Beastie Boys or whatever. Like, I came onto them much later. So it's funny to me that people say, "Yo, you remind me of him," when, you know, that wasn't like one of my immediate influences growing up. But like, again, you know, I have nothing but respect for those guys. You know, Cactus album is clearly a classic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely stood the test of time. So, but it's just funny because I didn't, you know, that was one of the classic albums that I didn't hear or sit down and listen to until much later, you know what I mean?
And speaking of third base, have you heard about the beef with Rakim and MC Search?
I have. You know, it's interesting. I don't really know the details. You know, I see the back and forth online. I don't really know what's true and what's false, so I don't really want to speak on it. It seems like it's a misunderstanding.
It does,
you know what
yeah.
I mean?
Because Sear kind of messed it up a little bit.
Yeah, it seems like a misunderstanding. You know, I hope they work it. I know Search was saying that he wanted to go on the air to clear it up.
Yeah, he did.
You know, it seems like, I guess it stemmed from like a Vlad interview or something that he did. But you know how the internet is, man. They
Yeah.
take something and they run with it.
Oh, yeah,
It's like,
that's today. That's today.
it's you know, the facts don't matter. It's all like, you know, whatever the story is,
Clickbait.
whatever gets the most clicks. So
Yeah, clickbait.
yeah, man, and shout out to Rakim too, man. Like,
Exactly, because I had Ron Browse in the studio a couple months ago, and he's the one who made the Ether beat for Nas. And I asked him, I said, I saw in an interview that someone, it was Vlad, of course, he said that Nas was the worst beat picker, and he didn't say that. It was actually Vlad who said that, and he turned it around like Ron Browse said it. So when I brought it up to Ron Browse, he said, "No, that wasn't me, that was Vlad." And I said, and I said, "That's today's media."
yeah, man, things get twisted, and you know, it's like a game of telephone too. You know,
Yeah.
and the wrong information spreads so quickly that by the time the actual factual stuff comes out, the damage is already done. You know, so it is what it is. That's just kind of how people. But it's like, at the same time, people consume stuff so quickly. It's like a story hits today, it's done by tomorrow. You know, so such is the internet and social media. You know?
So we got Summer Classics out now, just dropped this summer. It's available on all platforms.
Yep.
Tell the audience how long you were working on this project.
This was a long work in progress, honestly. There's some songs on the album that at the time it dropped were probably like a month old, and then there's some songs that probably dated back maybe a year and a half, 2 years. You know.
The Return was one of them, I believe, right? One of the
Yeah,
early ones.
you know, Return was one of them. I had the song Maintain, that was an older record. You know, Blue Eyed Soul I probably did a month before the album came out. So it was just like, I had a lot of songs in the stash. I knew what I was going for, and I knew how I wanted it to sound from top to bottom. So it was like, I wanted to take my time with it and, you know, sit down with everything that I did. And also, like, during the creative process of the album, I was also building up my following and getting people, you know, in tune with what I was doing, like with the freestyle series and stuff. So, you know, I was simultaneously doing that while recording the album. So there kind of was like a year and a half build up to me putting this album out. So I just wanted to make sure that, you know, if I was going to drop my official project, I wanted it to have a direction, like an artistic direction that I was happy with, and pick the right songs that fit. Like be able to pick and choose. All right, this one's dope, but it doesn't fit the concept of the album. So a lot of it was just like trimming the fat and making sure I had the best songs make the final product. You know what I mean?
And how long would you say it took for you to put the track list together? In which it was finalized.
The track list, I don't think there was much back and forth. I think like during the recording process, I had set up, we had set up like a private SoundCloud, just like organizing everything together. So as I would do something new, we put it on the SoundCloud and like run through it from top to bottom, be like, how does this sound together? Does this all sound cohesive?
Yeah, if it flows,
and it was kind of like, I'd send something, my manager would put something on the playlist, and then I think by the time it was done, he had kind of, configured the track list a certain way, and I don't even think we changed it after that. It sounded right. You know what I mean? It's kind of a happy accident. Like I don't think I sat down and was like, all right. We may have like switched a couple songs around, but for the most part, it kind of just happened like that. You know what I mean? It wasn't, and it worked. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't like a lot of foresight, but again, we were putting songs on a playlist for like over the course of a couple months, and some songs would get switched around here and there, but for the most part, like the general track list pretty much stayed the same. So it just kind of fell into place like that.
Now, how about we get into The Return?
Yeah, it's The Return.
Yes, sir.
Featuring Kwame, produced by Kwame.
Also a fan favorite.
Yeah.
And this has been banging for a long time. It was banging on the last show we did. Let's get into it. Mad Max, Bobby J.
Yeah.
It's that airplay out for all the St. John. Now it's a full campus, so it's definitely getting on the way.
My bad, bro. I'm like, I did the dance around on the search thing. 'Cause it's like,
Oh no, it's all right.
I don't want people to be like, yo, I heard you on this show. Yeah. Especially since like me and Serge are DM and stuff. Like, we don't know who's listening. So it's like, I don't want to make it seem like I'm going at it.
No, you're not going out. I was just getting your take on it.
Vanish, I'm famished, you bandages all get ate up like salmon, the can of spam and the ham and the salmon. Brandish my weapon and manage to damage with verses and standards. My grammar sets a standards on canvas.
It's the very all know, I be speeding up, I return up all slow.
I've seen you been working on. I like that.
Yeah, man. You're trying.
It's just a matter of just getting you into the main. If someone exposes you into the mainstream, what you need is just everyone in the city just knowing about, like, especially the Hot 97 DJs, like Funk Flex. If he throws your track on, oh man, I mean that could shift the culture.
The Flex look is, it's so political, man.
I want you on Hot 97. I want Hot 97 to change the stack to where it was.
It's crazy because like, Hot 97's program directors from the Bay, they don't play New York music.
They don't.
Even if it's good New York music, like I understand there's a lot of bums. There's like a lot of bums in New York that are like, yo, like we're bringing New York back, but they're not making. I understand like if they're not making the right records, but I think like shit like Book Drop or whatever like sounds New York, but it sounds new. I think shit like they don't even play like Action Bronson. You know what I mean?
He's New York.
And Action Bronson like makes New York music. You know what I mean? They don't play Rock Marciano. They don't play. Any New York artist that they're playing is like going along with the status quo. You know what I mean? Like I wish they support. Like they'll have like a dope rapper from New York come up and spit a rhyme.
Like Black Thought when he came up with Funk Flex.
Yeah, he's Philly, but he's East Coast. But they'll have somebody like My Son or Murder Mook or whatever. They'll
Fred the Godson.
Yeah, they'll have them come up and rap, but they don't support their shit.
They don't spin it too much.
So it's like, which is whack, man, because New York used to be the biggest market and the leading market where like everyone followed suit, and now New York is last on everything. So
WSJU Radio, Mad Max back on the airways with Bobby J from Rockaway. The Return, featuring Kwame.
Yeah.
The fan favorite.
Yeah, man. Just wanted to that record we actually got to do together in the studio. I went to go record with him. and that was one of the last records that we did. And like, I've just always been a fan of like the back and forth, you know, Jadakiss, Styles P, Billy Dan's, Little Fame, like Smith and Wesson type style, where it's just like it switches up every 2 to 4 bars. And thing about Kwame is, I think a lot of people are surprised at the level that he still raps at. You know what I mean? And he spent so much time in the background producing that people don't get to see that he's still nice as a rapper. So for me, it's like any project that I put out, I always want to have him on it. Because, you know, he doesn't sound old school, you know what I mean? Like, he sounds like he could still, you know, spit with anybody, and that was my motivation for making that song. I wanted to do something where, like, the energy was right in the studio, you know, I wrote 4 bars, it's like, all right, it's your turn. He comes in, he takes it to the next level, all right, it's my turn. And that's literally how it went. I mean, I think we wrote the song in like an hour, you know what I mean? We were just going back and forth. And
you guys had great chemistry for many years, though.
Yeah, and it was funny because we dropped that as a single like a couple months before the album came out. We did like a video on the iPhone, you know, like almost like FaceTime flow, like we were FaceTiming each other, and he posted it, and like his fans love seeing him doing new stuff. So when they saw that he was actually rapping on a new record, like, people went crazy over that. That's probably the biggest one I put out so far, you know, because the old school fans and the new school fans appreciated it. So that was just real dope to be able to put out a new record that he produced, that he was rapping on, and it was like I was getting some shine, he was getting some shine, and it was just dope to put something out with somebody I've been working with for so long and see the response be so positive, you know what I mean? So
that's important, positivity,
yeah,
always.
Man. So shout out to Kwame, man.
Yeah, shout out to the legend Kwame. Summer Classics, as we all know, dropped this past summer, available on all platforms. Go download it. What made you choose that title, Summer Classics?
So Summer Classics is kind of like, it's like a double meaning. So for one, the basketball league in Rockaway Beach is called Summer Classics. It's something that's been going on for decades. It's like something that the community rallies around every summer. You know, kids as young as 5 or 6 to adults as old as 50 playing it. You know, they got all different age brackets. You know, legends like Chris Mullin have played in the league, and it's, you know, local legends that lived in the neighborhood played in the league. So it's a callback to that, but also at the same time, like, I feel the album is something that you could play from top to bottom, and I feel like a lot of rappers strive to make that one song that'll play from, you know, May to September. Like, everyone wants that summer banger, and I wanted to go into the album with thinking of how could I make an album that's full of those types of records from top to bottom. And it almost has like a yin-yang aspect, because it has the energetic stuff like Hook Drop, that's like your summer banger, like almost like a club record, almost like inspired by the songs they would play at the Tunnel in the late 90s. And then, you know, it also has songs like Blue Eyed Soul and Lullaby that are more like chill, more reminiscent of like, you know, like an Arrested Development, Everyday People, you know, Far Side Running. Yeah, like I wanted to make stuff that had the summer energy on both sides of the coin. So something you would play at like a barbecue or on the beach, and then those songs that are just like you want to blast, you know, when you're driving
or playing basketball.
Down. Yeah, exactly. Or working out. You know what I mean? So that was just the concept. You know, I wanted to make something, or try my best to make an album that was full of summertime music. And being that Rockaway is a beach community, you know, it's on the beach, I felt like it all kind of made sense. You know what I mean?
I never even thought about that for the title, and I like that. I like that perception. You represent Rockaway to the fullest.
Yeah.
And I respect that about you a lot.
Appreciate it.
And I love this cover, too.
Yeah, man. Shout out to James Petrozello. He came through. He shot the album cover, which is we did it on Beach 108th Street on the lifeguard chair. He's a super accomplished photographer, man. Like he lives in Rockaway, but he's the main photographer for the Yankees. He's done portraits for like Mick Jagger and Keith Richards and like all these crazy people. And you know, he had been following what I've been doing, and I reached out to him and asked if he'd be down to shoot the cover, and he did it, man. So it was like a super honor to have somebody,
that's good.
you know, that shot all these crazy celebrities, and you know, for him to, you know, I reached out to him thinking like he was never gonna say yes, you know what I mean, like almost like this was beneath him, and he did it, man, and I'm just forever grateful, and the cover came out crazy. It was like exactly what I wanted, you know what I mean. So if you haven't, if you don't know who he is, check out James Petrozello on Instagram. He's an incredible photographer.
That cover is wild, though.
Yeah.
Looking at it right now on the screen here.
Yeah, man. I wanted to do something that would let people know, like, immediately, like, you know, this isn't going to be a typical hip-hop album. You know, I'm from New York, but it's not the typical landscape you see in New York. And I think what he did kind of captured all of that in just one shot, you know what I mean? So he helped bring this album to life.
I like it. As soon as you sent the cover art over to me, I was like, this is heat.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I love the vibe with it,
Thank you,
100%. And like I said, I started listening to your album the night you sent it to me. I was on the couch suffering because I was watching the Mets lose. And when I listened to your album, I was like, wow.
Yeah, man.
I started going through the track by track by track. The one with MOP. And then Walter White, of course, was already on the album. And it was already a single.
Yeah.
And then Top Down came on. And I was like,
Yeah.
I got the mean face on.
Yeah, shout out to Neff.
When you started going in on it, and I want to throw that one on
Yeah.
because that's my personal favorite off of the album.
Yeah, man, that's a lot of people like that one. Shout out to Neff. Neff produced that. If you haven't checked him, check out @Produced by Neff. He's dope, up and coming producer.
This is your first time working with Neff?
Yeah, that's the first time we collaborated. But I've known Neff for close to a year now. He works very closely with Static. You know, but he's making his own name as a producer as well. Does a lot of stuff with like Pro Era. He just put out a project with this kid Ren Thomas called Lost and Found. That's real dope. He just did this kid Dirty Sanchez, his latest single. So, you know, shout out to Neff, man, super dope. This is a lot of people's favorite song on the album. This is Top Down.
Yes, sir. You already heard it from Bobby J. You're about to get your mean faces on WSJU Radio, Mad Max, Bobby J.
Riding through the city with the top down. Vibing with your biddy to them hot sounds. She hits me when I'm busy, I'm like, not now. You slide up in the D and make it shot down. Guess that's the difference between me and you. I'm a different breed, keep that shit between me and you. And all that bullshit I'm seeing through is transparent, no Caitlyn Jenner. Who does it better? When I'm riding through the city with the top down. Vibing with your biddy to them hot sounds. She hits me when I'm busy, I'm like, not now. You slide up in the D and make it shot down. So please don't change your channel.
Bobby J.
Early 90s style, please don't change your flannel.
Shout out to Mad Max. SJU Radio. Yo,
holding a candle, I'm just riding through the city with the top down. Vibing with your biddy to them hot sounds. She hits me when I'm busy, I'm like, not now. You slide up in the D and make it shot down. You ain't in the streets, you in the street. Scary ass, go to church, join the ministry. You should have been a priest. I'm just a menace from the East Coast, Venice Beach. Got your main squeeze in the Jeep, and I'm riding through the city with the top down. Vibing with your biddy to them hot sounds. She hits me when I'm busy, I'm like, not now. You slide up in the D and make it shot down. This shit knocking like a ladder day on Saturday. My shit popping, you ain't had a break, go that away. Shit, I had your bae drunk off Cabernet. Now she at my place screaming, baby, don't hurt me like Hathaway. Now we're riding through the city with the top down. Vibing with your biddy to them hot sounds. She hits me when I'm busy, I'm like, not now. You slide up in the D and make it shot down. I represent Queens to the fullest. A place rarely spoken of, a scene on some footage. With far rock shooters leaving jeans full of bullets. With so misunderstood that I just don't know how to put it. But you shouldn't be riding through the city with the top down.
Your frame of mind from this recording. Alright, we go back on here.
I'm like, not now. You slide up in the D and make it shot down. Understand, I'm the most underrated, underappreciated, and that can't be understated. I'm so underground, like the people understairs. Yeah, I'm under there with an underground and underwear.
Yeah.
That's a good movie too.
Yeah, no, it's a classic.
Fool.
Cool, yeah. I haven't seen that movie in 20 years.
That's one of my favorite Wes Craven films.
Yeah, man. Oh, yo, how was Kiss, bro?
Oh,
That shit looked crazy.
that was great. I'll get onto that on here with you. Too. That was.
I didn't realize you were. Are you like a big classic rock fan? Or?
I like Billy Joel. Yeah, I like Kiss. Yeah.
I'm a huge Billy Joel fan.
Oh, Billy Joel's my favorite. Probably my favorite singer of all time.
Of all time, yeah. Yeah, like, aside from hip hop, that's all my parents listened to. So I was like, you know, all those guys. I don't know Kiss. I wasn't like a Kiss fan growing up, but I knew when I was watching the theatrics of how they came out.
Yeah, crazy.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Oh yes. Top down.
Yeah.
Bobby J from Rockaway.
Yeah.
Mad Max.
Yes, sir.
846. WSJU Radio. Summer Classics is out on all platforms. Make sure you go get it.
Yeah.
I know that everyone had their mean faces on when you're going in on this song.
You know, it's just that's like another one of those. That's the energy. That's the energetic side of the album. You know.
It's kind of like an Onyx track. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean that song. When Neff gave me that beat, I think I came. You know that hook just popped into my head.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the beat is structured, it kind of breaks down to that hook part like every 4 bars.
Mm.
So I was like, when I was writing it, I was like, you know what? Like, instead of just me doing 16 bars, 8-bar hook, 16 bars, 8-bar hook, like, what if I just made, you know, what if I just went back into the hook every 4 bars? So it was like, you know, instead of having like a three verse structured song, it was literally me going back into the hook like every 4 bars, and I wanted to like switch it up with every time
I like the structure of it.
You know what I mean?
Unique,
So it was me. That song was like really me just trying to play with song structure. You know what I mean? And it literally just kind of came out that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It sounded right.
When you go in, was it Hold My 40? Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's.
Yeah.
You take off. It was like something like Pun would do.
Yeah, man.
You know
Just
what I mean?
like
'Cause Pun had that delivery, just going in and in and in.
exactly. You know, and Palm was one of my favorites. You know,
Capital
so,
Punishment, one of the
Yeah.
greatest albums of all time.
of all time.
Mm-hmm. And you said that last time on my show too.
Yeah.
No one dropped a lyrical project on that caliber since.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. I mean, that album is.
That's dangerous. That album's
I
dangerous.
mean, and it's like that album was like 24 songs too.
Yeah.
You know, it could have been a double album. It was like either like 22 or 24 songs. Like they don't make albums like that anymore.
No.
And every last one of those songs was dope. You could play that thing from top to bottom.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't skip any. Even
there's
skits.
there's no weak song on that album.
No.
You know, so that album to me, like, that was like life changing when I heard that one.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Did you have that on CD or cassette or vinyl?
I had that on CD.
Oh, yeah, I had that on CD.
I mean, I had cassettes though. You know, I had It's Dark as and Hell is Hot on cassette.
Okay, DMX.
You know what I mean? I had I don't even know what happened to my old album collection, man. I used to have so much. Like, I lost all the physical copies of stuff I used to have.
Wow.
You know, and I'm kind of mad about it because I looked at it like, well, everything's digital now. I don't need these CDs anymore. Now you look, and people are starting to collect tapes again. You know what I mean? Collect CDs again. So I wish I still had that stuff. But my CD and tape collection was serious.
Mm.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. You grew up in the golden age and you did all your research.
Yeah, man. And a lot of it was like, you know, stealing my brother's albums too. So.
Yeah, we got in that last time.
Yeah.
And as a hip-hop artist who represents the real hip-hop, would you say that you prefer the CDs and tapes now instead of digital downloads?
I mean, look, I like how easy it is to get your music out there, you know, and I understand that, you know, when the format changes, it's hard to fight it. You know, people aren't going to go back to going to the record store and buying a CD if they can just switch their phone on and get it immediately, right? But one thing I do miss was, you know, I got a lot of knowledge just by going through the CD booklets. You know, I used to love...
Oh, you'd see the producers.
Yeah, like I used to love buying an album,
and reading the book,
reading the credits, you know, and seeing all the credited writers, seeing who produced it, you know, seeing where it was recorded at, seeing who engineered it, who mixed it, who mastered it, you know what I mean? So that's how I found out about like a lot of like my favorite producers, was just, you know, picking up a Nas album and being like, oh damn, Premier did this, you know, Large Pro did this, you know, Q-Tip did this. So
Yeah.
You don't get that anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? You have to Google search it. You know, you don't. I know some people do like digital booklets and stuff like that, but you know, I used to love, you know, listening to an album for the first time, reading the credits, reading the thank you section. You know, even just like reading the thank yous and being like, oh damn, like I didn't even know, you know, oh Biggie knew E40. You know what I mean? Like you see all these random people, you know, thanked in that section, and you just don't get that anymore. It's lost. You know what I mean? For some reason, that's been discarded. I wish there was like a feature or something on Spotify or whatever where, you know,
It just opens up the digital version.
yeah,
of the
you open
booklet.
up the digital version, you could read through it, but it is what it is.
This brings me to my next question. Are there physical copies of Summer Classics, or will there be if not?
Yeah, we're working on it.
Okay, how about vinyls?
We're gonna do vinyls.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm putting in that order ASAP.
Yeah.
I'm in my vinyl wave now.
Yeah, so we're just trying to get the details ironed out on that. You know what I mean? I don't know how many I'm gonna press up. You know, we'll see what the demand is like, how many we can move. But yeah, you know, I want to have, at least for me, you know, have a physical copy of the album that I could hold in my hand. And you know, I think vinyl makes sense because there's like a vinyl resurgence, and people, even if they're not listening to them, like people view them as like art pieces. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, I don't listen to mine. I just put them in my crate
Yeah.
at home, and I just collect them and keep them in the plastic.
Yeah,
That's what I
man.
do.
So when that's all ready, you know, I'll announce it. But we're just in the beginning stages of that right now. You know.
I'll still collect tapes and CDs too.
Yeah.
I still do that too.
People are doing the tapes too. You know,
Yeah, I
like-
love the tapes. I picked up Third Base. What was it? What's their second album? I'm drawing a blank here. It's the one with Pop
Daryl
Goes the
likes the
Weasel.
dialect.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's their second one, because the first one was a Cactus. That's exactly. I
Yeah.
picked up that one this past summer at
That's
a
dope.
nearby record store.
Yeah, I got Cactus on vinyl.
Oh, you got the Cactus?
Yeah.
Wow, that's a gem.
There's actually a dope spot in Hoboken, Washington, that has a lot of old school hip hop albums. But like, you know, they repress a lot of this stuff. It's expensive. You know, some of these albums. You know, if you get a classic album, like I think I bought Thriller, and that was like close to $50. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, the original or
So
the
it's-
newer version? The repressed.
I think it was repressed.
Repressed.
Yeah.
I was at a record store. I saw Thriller for $10, but it was original pressing.
See, I would have rather had that.
Yeah.
But, you know,
But it's original, so I would take the original pressing. I got the original pressing of Purple Rain this past summer.
that's dope.
It was like $10.
That's dope.
Yeah, I was like, I value that over more than a repressed.
Exactly.
It's going to be overcharged, but it's not the original sound. They may have computerized everything.
Yeah, or they may have
refreshed
remastered it.
yeah.
You know. But that's dope. That's
Mhm.
dope, man. Yeah, I like to have. I mean, I'm building my vinyl collection. You know, I'm not a DJ, so you know, it's mainly, you know, like I have you know, turntables in my crib. And
Okay.
I'll play them when people come over.
You have
but-
vinyl turntables?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, so, you
I never
know-
touched vinyls. I only have the electronic controller.
Yeah, I like it to be able to step away from like always pressing the next button. Like just put on, you know, a dope record and just let it play front to back. You know what I mean? So just trying to build my collection up.
What are some of your favorite vinyls that you have?
Favorite vinyls that I have, Ultramagnetic MCs.
Critical.
Yeah, Critical Beatdown.
Oh,
I
wow.
just love, not just because the music is dope, but I just love that cover.
Oh, that's hard.
I got the 30th.
With Set on there.
Yeah,
Cool
yeah,
Keith.
yeah.
Shout out to Cool Keith too.
Yeah,
We called
Cool
him on the
Keith.
show,
Just
yeah.
the outfits, the way everyone's dressed.
Mhm.
I love that. I got the 30th anniversary edition of Great Adventures of Slick Rick.
Oh, yeah, I got that too.
What else? You know, just Run DMC, Paid in Full, Chronic, Doggy Style. You know, just pretty much Paul's Boutique. I got the 30th anniversary of that. You know, pretty much just trying to go in and rebuy all the albums I had on CD, on vinyl. You know, all the albums that were influential to me, and just at least have a physical copy of them. You know what I mean?
some that I'm looking for right now is There's a Dark Side, Redman,
Yeah.
and Nas It Was Written.
Yeah,
Those are
yeah,
my
yeah.
two right now. I just want to, if I see them, I'm going to grab them, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
As,
Crazy
as, a,
albums,
as a
too.
huge Nas fan, too, It Was Written. I prefer that over Illmatic, even though Illmatic was, you know, what it did for hip-hop, compared to any other album, it didn't have that much of an impact as much as Illmatic.
Yeah, no, I think It Was Written's a pretty flawless album.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was a great
Sophomore
follow-up.
album,
I think that it was a different direction, definitely, but that's kind of what made Nas a superstar.
Mhm.
That album, you know, it had
If
If I Ruled the World, you know what I mean,
Lauryn Hill,
the message,
Yeah.
you know, he
Tough.
had the track masters, which were like the dopest mainstream producers at the time, and then he had, you the Primos of the world and stuff like that. So I thought
And Havoc was on there, too.
Havoc,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like it was a
Dr. Dre, too.
Dre,
Yeah.
yep. So it was more, I guess, palatable to the mainstream than like an Illmatic was. But to me, it was a very balanced album. You know what I mean? Like even the commercial sound or quote unquote commercial sounding songs were dope records to me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Because usually the mainstream tracks, they're just kind of like overplayed, and sometimes
Yeah, like
There you
if I Ruled the World is an incredible,
a great song. It's a
incredible
great
song.
and,
you know what I
and,
mean?
it, and
So-
it got radio play.
yeah.
And that's a great track.
Yeah, and that when he was really saying meaningful stuff on that song, like, and that again, that's like something that's missing. You don't get songs like that anymore, where someone's saying something lyrically, but at the same time, the beat is dope, the hook is catchy. That song was just like a monster all
Yeah.
around. You know what I mean?
And it went hard, too.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that vinyl coming soon
Yeah,
for
man.
Summer Classics. How about apparel? You have any apparel? I know you had a Bobby J hat, I believe.
Yeah, no, I got hoodies on the way. I got T-shirts. I got the Summer Classic T-shirts that are modeled like after the jerseys from the actual Summer Classic League. So like
Okay.
the shirts that you'll see in some videos on my IG.
Mhm.
I'm rocking it, and it's basically a replica, but instead of it's saying, St. Francis de Sales, this is Bobby J from Rockaway, Summer Classics. So those are out now. I have a Shopify set up. They're $20 a piece. And I got hoodies on the way. I didn't get those yet, but those will be out shortly. So yeah, I got the T-shirts for now, and definitely more apparel, coming.
Mm-hmm. So how about we get in a quick music break? When we come back, we'll
Let's
talk
do
more
it.
about Summer Classics and
Yeah.
performances. Everybody knows WSJU Radio, St.
Yeah.
John's University, Queens, New York. Bobby J's in the building with Mad Max. Stay tuned.
Everybody knows the dice are loaded.
Yeah, man.
I love chopping it up with you, especially about real hip hop.
Yeah, man.
Talking about your album too.
This is dope. I would love to see. There was no radio station. Like I went to school in Miami. They had a radio station, but they didn't have a hip hop show. I would have loved to have done some shit like this in college. Man. Like, do this. How many days a week do you do this?
3 at the most.
And you have a guest every show? Who books the guest? It's you?
Yeah, me.
Damn, that's gotta be hard.
Yeah, I just do the film and the editing.
What happens if somebody doesn't show up or cancels on you?
I just go on there and do my own show. I just go on there and talk about sports, because I want to get into sports topics with you talking about sports.
Dude, you're talking to the wrong guy.
Yeah, you're not a sports guy?
Not really. Not really. Like, I'm not like, I know basic shit, but like,
Oh yeah, you don't have to know statistics or anything.
bro, trust me.
Who you root for? Who you root for?
Trust me, man. Talking to the wrong guy.
You root for the Mets, you for Queens.
I say it on the album, I'm from Queens and never was a fan of the Mets.
I
I mean, look, dude, if I'm gonna say I'm a fan, I'm gonna say Yankees, Giants, Rangers. But like, am I watching sports like that?
How about basketball, Knicks?
I'll say Knicks begrudgingly, but it's like,
I'm a Knicks fan,
bro,
so.
I'm not like, honestly, dude, like, I'm so out of the loop. Like, you could say, like, honestly, you could talk about a player who's hot right now, and I wouldn't know shit. Like, I know music, you know what I mean? Like, my friends make fun of me, they're like, how do you not know this shit?
Yeah. You just don't know it, you know what I mean? You're not.
It just doesn't interest me.
Yeah. But music, you know a lot about.
Like, yeah, like I talk about hip hop the way people discuss sports things. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just letting you know. Like, I'm not. I don't know shit. Kwame's the same way, and you know it's like that too. Fucking that producer Knots.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't fuck with any type of sports at all. So it's like,
I mean, that's just you.
I'm not saying I don't.
Yeah, you just don't follow.
I don't enjoy it. I'm not saying I wouldn't go to a game or whatever. It's just like
You just don't follow.
when people start talking, you know, players,
this one had like 30 points.
or like what happened, you know, like I don't fucking know.
Yeah. I'll know if I watch, you know what I mean? I'll know if I watch it. Because I got to report on it, so I have to watch a lot of the games half the time. Especially as a Jets fan, I'm checked out.
So you're a Jets fan?
Yeah, I'm checked out already. We don't even have our starter quarterback, so.
But you're from Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
So is there any tie-in with the Jets there?
No, usually if you're from Connecticut, you go for either Jets, Giants, or Patriots.
Yeah.
But I'm a Jets fan, I'm a Knicks fan.
So you don't fuck with any New England teams at all?
I don't like any of them.
Was there a lot of kids you grew up with that were like New England all day?
Yeah,
Like
they
Red Sox
tortured
and
me,
shit?
yeah, they tortured me.
I figure like Connecticut though is like you're gonna have people from New England whose parents came from New England and then people whose parents came from New York, so it's like you get a pretty even mixture.
WSJU Radio, Mad Max back on the airways with Bobby J from Rockaway.
Yo.
Everybody knows Vivian Green.
Yeah, man.
So tell us a little about Vivian Green.
Vivian Green, close friend of mine, known her for a couple years. She works pretty closely with Kwame. He did her last 2 albums, and he's doing an album that's coming up. So me and her, that's like family. And you know, she's been a big fan of what I've been doing. I've always been a big fan of what she's been doing, and it only made sense for us to do something together. So
And it worked well.
yeah, man. So when I was putting the album together, you know, I had that record, and it was off like a Justice League sample, and I wanted her to re-sing it, and the way she delivered it, I thought she did it better than like what the sample would have sounded like. She absolutely killed it. Like she's, you know, one of the most talented artists I've ever met, man. Like, you know, seeing her perform live, like she's incredible. So, you know, she really came through for me, you know, and did that just off of the base of our relationship, you know. So shout out to Vivian Green. If you're not familiar with her, man, go check out her music. I mean, she's been around for damn near 20 years too. So she's like a super veteran, you know what I mean? And she's just incredible, super cool person, amazing to work with, and I'm just you know, I'm honored that she was on the album.
And it was definitely a great feature and matchup. I love listening to it,
Yeah.
especially that night I went through all the tracks when the Mets were losing. And performances, we can get into that now. Your performances on Instagram is at the Oyster. What was it? The Oyster, I believe you're talking.
Yeah, I did a show at the spot Russ Woods 2 days ago in Rockaway Beach. You know, always good to be in my own backyard and like perform for people. You know, Russ Woods is a newer venue that's behind this restaurant, Wits End, which has kind of become, you know, like a staple of the neighborhood. You know, it's kind of a place where everybody congregates, whether they're from, you know, Rockaway Beach, Far Rockaway, whatever. So it's kind of like a melting pot of people. And Oyster Fest is something that's been going on in the neighborhood for a couple years now. And the dude who runs it reached out to me, asked me to perform. And it was just dope, man. It was like a day party. You know, got to do some songs off my album. My DJ rocked it for like 2 hours after I was done. And it was just, you know, it was just a dope day, you know what I mean? Because for a long time, there was no real venues in Rockaway like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was like a lot of bars and you know, there was a couple places on the boardwalk where it'd be like bands performing, but there wasn't really places that facilitated, you know, what I wanted to do. So Russ Woods is like one of the first spots that was actually able to, you know, let me have a full-on show there. So it was real dope to be able to perform in my neighborhood, you know. And then I got a show coming up at Brooklyn Bowl on Wednesday, October 2nd, and I'm opening up for this dude Lyrics Born and this band Con Brio. So that should be real dope. That show starts at 8. It's this Wednesday, October 2nd at Brooklyn Bowl. So that should be real dope.
And you killed it too when you're performing Walter White.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You actually had people in the background, you know, recite your lines,
Yeah,
the
it was dope.
punchlines. Yeah,
It was dope, man.
it was a real '90s vibe too.
Yeah, man, it was chill. You know what I mean? And it's funny because it's not necessarily like a hip hop audience. You know what I mean? It was definitely like a mixture of people there. Some people knew who I was, some people didn't. You know, some people were hip hop fans, some people probably had never seen live hip hop before. So it's cool to be able to get out there and kind of do my thing and, you know, potentially like open up some minds and like, you know, give the people the opportunity that probably would have never listened to me or listened to hip hop to like see what it was. And, you know, the response was great, man. So shout out to everybody in Rockaway who came through. But again, man, come check me out. If you haven't seen me, come check me out October 2nd, Brooklyn Bowl.
Oh, I'm gonna have to come out.
Yeah, man, come through.
I want to see you live. Everyone I've heard, great feedback, especially
Yeah.
Ryan, who I had on the Ryan show. You said you'd kill it live. Anyone who I heard that seen
Yeah,
you live.
Ryan's my boy
kill
too,
it.
man.
Yeah, shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Ryan, the Ryan Show, Hamptons Dave. Shout out to Big T,
Mr. Cheeks.
yo, Mr. Cheeks, Keith Murray, all those guys, man. Ryan's like a day one guy. You know what I mean? Like he's been supporting me for a long time. And he just moved to Rockaway, and he just had a baby. So congratulations to him and his girl.
Yeah, congratulations to him. But your performance was crazy at that event.
Yeah.
Because I was vibing with it. I was like, you know, I got the mean face on, I got the bop on.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man, it was a vibe. So any other upcoming performances that we can look forward to? Besides
I'm
October
doing
2nd?
I'm doing a show October 9th with this kid Afro
Okay.
at the Delancey.
Yeah, he's a regular on the Ryan show, too.
Yeah. Real dope. There's a couple other people on the bill, and I can't remember their names, so no offense. I'm sorry. But that's at the Delancey. That's on October 9th. So that's next Wednesday. Yeah, so come through. That'll be like, you know, some real hip-hop stuff. So.
Yeah. So now that Summer Classics is out now, what are your favorites to perform off the album?
You know, I love doing Walter White. I love doing, you know, I did a show at the Knitting Factory a couple months ago, and I got to do the Return with Kwame. That was like a highlight for me. You know, being able to bring the energy that we had on the song to the stage. I love doing Lullaby, Blue Eyed Soul. You know, just the records that people who have the album, you know, gravitate to. Those are the ones I like performing, because usually when I do them, people know them. You know, there's some familiarity there. So those are the ones I like the most. You know, I'd love to perform Hook Drop with Fame if the opportunity ever comes. You know, I'd love to perform Collector with Priest.
Killer Priest.
You know, but those definitely Walter White, Lullaby, Blue Eyed Soul. Those are probably like my top three.
And when I was listening to those on the couch that night, when I was watching the Mets lose, you know, those were bangers, so I could see why it would fit the party vibe 100%. Is there anything else that you want to tell the audience about performances, or that's it as of now?
Look, if you don't follow me, check me out on Instagram at Bobby J From Rockaway, Twitter at Bobby J Rockaway. If you search Bobby J From Rockaway on all streaming, you'll find me. Facebook.com/Bobby J From Rockaway. Summer Classics is out now, all streaming platforms. Got another one coming up soon on the way. Not going to say too much about it, but expect more music coming in the next couple months. Yeah, man, I just, you know, I'm going to keep trying to just release music as frequently as possible, you know.
Well, let's get into Walter White when we come back. We'll
Cool.
talk a little sports, because I know you're not huge on it, but we'll touch it.
Hey, man, I know nothing. So to the listeners out there, like, don't hold it against me.
No, we won't. Walter White, you know what it is when you hear it.
Yeah.
A banger. Static Select.
Like
Package it fresh, I'm not
like
impressed.
what happened with Antonio Brown?
Oh, him? Yeah, he was thrown out of the league by the Patriots because he had all these rape allegations against him. So
Were they credible? Or it's just like some chick said some shit?
it was just some girl that came out, and I guess they took it seriously.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
So he just got fucking, like, just hearsay, he got kicked out?
Yeah.
See, that's whack.
Yeah, I know.
there's no basis in anything. Just fucking someone could say some shit. And shit
That's why
If I was him, he should just sue the shit out of the league.
Yeah, so would I. How he wasn't convicted or anything, so he wasn't arrested. So what's that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's just the thing, man. It's outrage culture. You know what I mean? Like
Everyone, I was
people
saying
will
so
just
that
people will
everyone's
just
so
fucking
sensitive.
go crazy if there's a big enough backlash.
I've
You know, with a bunch
I've
of blue checks on social media, then like you're done.
I've gotten a lot of heated arguments about here about people, you know, this one's guilty, and I said, well, let's find out the facts. Let's see, you know what I mean? Because people are all instantly guilty. You can't be like that in society. That's not right for the
It's just like it's dangerous because it's like, you know, news makes it out there whether it's true or not.
Yeah, what happens if it's not? You're
And,
ruining
and then
someone's...
the court of public opinion has already made its mind up. So
Oh
it's
yeah, I
like you're
hate public
guilty.
opinion. I hate it.
And then it's like at this point his reputation is done, right?
Yeah,
So it's
done.
like even if he gets cleared, some people will still be like, ah, he's
Oh,
a
well, he was
rapist.
accused of this. You still hear it about Kobe Bryant. You hear it all the time.
Yeah. And then like turn out that like 12 dudes were running a train on some chick. And like, I mean, shit's been going on forever, but now it's just turned up because, you know, the spread of information or misinformation is fucking crazy. You know?
Oh, it is. That AZ. Oof.
Yeah, that was dope as shit.
Oh, man. Walter White, Static Selector, Bobby J.
Yeah.
That AZ sample goes hard.
Thank you, bro.
The hit song.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, man. One of my favorites right there.
Oh, yeah, that's tough. And that's one of your favorites to perform, as you said before.
Yeah.
Now, I want to get into a little sports talk with you. Not too heavy, but the teams that you root for.
All right, let me turn this mic off because I don't know anything. Look, man, like I'm not gonna put on a front or a facade. Like I've always been a music guy. Like I talk about music the same way people talk about sports. Like I can talk about hip hop as soon as like it turns into some sports talk, and my friends get at me. You know what I mean? Like all my friends are sports fans. Like whether it be, you know, stuff like football, basketball, baseball, or like UFC type stuff. Like once they start talking about it, I kind of tune out. So I guess by default, you know, I'm from Queens. I should be a Mets fan, but I root for the Yankees.
You're kind of like
You
Big
know,
L.
Exactly.
I'm from New York and never was a fan of the Knicks.
Yeah.
That line kills me. As a
Yeah,
Knicks
like
fan,
that. I
too.
flipped that line, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, Giants, Rangers. You know, and I'm only saying that because those are the teams that tend to win.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not like I have like this crazy sports knowledge, and it's like, you know, I'm a super baseball, basketball, football fan. Like I'm being 100%.
And you got to get in the basketball team. Who would you root for? The Knicks,
I mean,
right?
I'm gonna say the Knicks because it's like I feel like it's blasphemous to say, "Yo, I'm a Nets fan."
Yeah.
You know?
Oh no, not on my set. I've had ever since Katie and Kyrie Irving signed with the Nets. Everyone in that chair where you're sitting is a Nets fan now. It's disgusting.
Yeah, like I respect Knicks fans, man, because it's like, you know, you got to stick it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they don't quit. Like they'll support the Nets to the death. You know what I mean? So I respect that. Like, you know, they don't bandwagon jump. Well, I guess there are some Knicks fans that like they come around when it's convenient, but you know, most of the Knicks fans that I know, like they don't care. Like win or lose, that's their team. They'll never support the Nets.
No.
You know what I mean? Like that's just like
Not on this channel. Not on this show.
like true New York stuff. But you know,
I feel like the Knicks, you know, they just embody the New York culture, especially when you
yeah,
go back.
it's MSG. Like, come on.
It's the Garden, the Mecca of basketball. You know what I mean? How can you not be a Knicks fan when you're in New York? You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like iconic, man. Like, you know,
Patrick Ewing and all those teams. Huge.
yeah, legendary.
Yeah. I don't know about now,
Yeah.
but I don't know about now, but I mean, you look at the franchise, they have a lot of history behind them. So that will conclude our sports talk for the
Yeah,
day.
man. Thank you. I'm like sweating over here. Like, please don't ask me about stats, dude. Like, come on.
You don't got to worry about that. But I know you got into it a little bit off air about me going to the Kiss concert. What was it that you wanted to ask me about the Kiss concert?
No, I just thought it was dope, man. Like one, like I didn't know you were a Kiss fan, so
Yeah.
that was cool. And just the fact that, I mean, those dudes are. I mean, Gene Simmons has got to be what, close to 70.
Yeah, he just turned 70, I believe.
He's
yeah.
70. You know what I mean? So
And he's still doing
and
it.
those guys are like, just to see like the theatrics of it. You know, like the way the way the show was put on, the way they came, the way, did they come out of the ceiling?
Yeah.
They came out of the ceiling. They had the pyrotechnics and all that stuff. Like, it looked crazy.
Yeah.
You know, and like I'm a classic rock fan too. So and it's weird because I never really listened to Kiss like that. So I guess like if I had to ask a question, it's like what's the Kiss appeal? Because I feel like anytime I hear Kiss mentioned, it's like there's like the pretentious rock fans that don't like them. Like almost like they were like a gimmick and like
Yeah,
you know,
I hate that.
you know what I mean? Like there's like that air of like there's a group of fans that kind of sticks their nose up at them,
Yeah.
but then there's people that like love them. You know what I mean? So like what's the appeal of Kiss?
It's the show. I'd say the show they put on. Their music is good. I don't know. I've heard people say their music stinks or whatever. You
Yeah.
just go get out of my face when you say that. But I think their music is good, and I think their show is like no other.
Yeah.
What they do between the pyrotechnics and the face paint, the
Yeah,
costumes.
like the theatrics. Like, kind of reminds me of like wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the same way, you know, just the whole the face paint. Like almost kind of like I feel like ICP like Jack them.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? So yeah, I just thought that was dope seeing that. You know what I mean? To see that you were a fan of that. You know?
Oh, huge Kiss fan ever since I was young, and I was a huge fan of Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, those albums. Their first album, Kiss, Creatures of the Night, huge fan of that album
Yeah.
as well.
So is that like from like was your dad like a Kiss fan?
No, you know what got me into them? Just seeing, I don't know what it was. I think I just saw a performance from them and just got into them because I was a horror movie. I'm still a horror movie fan. So
too.
when I saw your horror, okay,
Yeah,
we can
big
get
time.
in. We can get into that.
Big time.
So when I looked at them as monsters and scary, especially when they spit blood.
Yeah.
So it kind of appealed to me because they look like monsters and they look kind of scary. So
Yeah.
I got into them, and I remember I got a Gene Simmons mask for I don't know something I did in school that was good. What was it? I can't remember. It was either making my communion or something. I got it as a gift, my Gene Simmons mask, and I remember wearing it when I was younger. I was a mask collector too, and well, I eventually disappeared. I don't know where it went. There's
Damn. Did it have like the tongue stuck?
yeah,
on
and
it?
the tongue sticking out and everything, and I wish I still had it because that's a collector's item. And yeah, but just always being a Kiss fan, watching. I had their DVD of a lot of their music performances,
Yeah.
and I was always intrigued what they did live, especially Gene Simmons' bass solo. And there was also another interview with Gene Simmons, an early interview. I can't remember what the show name, and it was an old show. Maybe I could pull it up here. It was in 1970s. It was an interview with Gene Simmons. I think it was Mike Douglas. Was it the Mike Douglas show? I can't remember what it was, and I remember being so intrigued by that interview.
Like
Yeah, I
I
can't
remember
find
when they got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and you know what? Paul Stanley got into that on stage that night in Brooklyn. He said that they didn't want him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And people were pissed. They're like, why not? They're still
Yeah.
doing it today.
Well, I thought it was dope that Tom Morello inducted him too. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But yeah, I guess that's the thing. You know, it's like there's going to be those fans that like looked at him as like a gimmick, and then there's people that love it. So whatever, man. They're still touring. They're still performing. Like you got to give it to them.
Mike Douglas show. I was right. This
Yeah.
is from the 70s. This was like one of the first interviews Gene Simmons did, I believe, and he was in costume and he uses in his character, his stage performance character. Yeah, but that pretty much sums up me being a Kiss fan. Just listening to their records, and they appeal to me because of their appearance.
That's dope.
And as a big classic rock guy, I'm also a huge Billy Joel fan,
Yeah,
so I
man.
definitely connect with you on there. My favorite album by him is his live album, Songs in the Attic.
Oh yeah.
I have that on vinyl. I found that on vinyl this summer.
Ridiculous.
I took that in. That's better than his studio recorded album.
Yeah, man.
That live album's insane.
I think there's a later live album that he put out that was super dope too. Because I don't know if it was like in the 2000s. It might have been like the late 90s. Because I know he did like River of Dreams on it.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, just absolutely murders everything. Like when he does Moving Out, like the way he does those records live is unbelievable. And I've been meaning to go see Billy Joel because
Have you seen him?
I know he does the Residency, but I
Yeah,
haven't had a
gone,
chance to go
yeah.
check him out. You know, and that's just like
Oh,
I'm in New
recommend-
York. I should at least go check him out.
I highly recommend you go see Billy Joel. I saw him New Year's Eve a couple years ago at the Barclays Center. He put on an amazing show.
Damn, man.
He was He's an icon.
I gotta peep that.
Oh man, he was an icon. He came out with Miami 2017.
Damn.
And when he did Piano Man, he just let the whole crowd sing.
Yeah, he doesn't even have to perform.
Yeah, he doesn't, because the crowd performed it.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
And he sells out every concert at the Garden.
Yeah,
I can't think of an artist who can do that. Just sells out once a month.
Well, he's home. I mean, it's like having a Vegas residency, but instead you do the Garden. You do it like once a month, and people come to see you every single time.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And he probably lives out on Long Island.
Yeah, he's a real humble guy too.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's like career goals, man. Like he probably, he does a show at the Garden, probably drives home. Gets to be with his family.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a dream job. But what are some of your favorite Billy Joel records? I know I said Songs in the Attic was my favorite.
Pressure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Moving Out. Moving Out's probably
Anthony's song.
That's like
great.
that's like theme music. You know what I mean? You said Miami. What else? It's always when I get asked these questions, I start blanking, man. Captain Jack, Big Shot. I'm not crazy about like the doo-wop stuff like that.
The Longest Time.
Yeah, I mean it's cool. I respect it, but I'm definitely a fan of like the work before that. But I mean, he's got classics on classics on classics. So
Hitmaker.
yeah, incredible.
He's a hitmaker.
Yeah, I mean obviously Piano Man.
Oh yeah. You'll hear that everywhere too.
Yeah.
Piano Man. So how about we get in a quick music break? When we come back, we talk horror movies, because this is something I didn't know about you, so I definitely want to get into that as October is approaching. Maintain.
Yeah. Summer
classics out everywhere. Go get it. Download it. Mad Max, Bobby J. Rockaway, back on the airwaves. I didn't know you liked horror movies. That's wild.
Yeah, man, I love horror. Like I could talk about 3 things at length. I could talk about music, stand-up comedy, maybe. I love horror movies. I love Halloween shit, but I like obscure shit too, man. Like you go on like Reddit stuff. Like you ever read like creepypasta?
Oh yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. I like all that stuff. It's very rare though that like I see a movie that is like truly original. You know what I mean?
Especially now today with all the remakes.
What's like your favorite like new horror movie that's come out?
New horror movie? Oh my. Wow.
Like what's that studio that makes all those dope indie horror movies like Hereditary? Is it like A24 or something?
I think so, something like that, yeah.
I like The Witch. The Witch was dope.
Witch was pretty good.
Hereditary was ill.
I haven't checked out Hereditary. Everyone who told me they've seen it said it was really
good.
It
was slow burn, but the ending is crazy. Did you see Midsommar?
No, I was I gotta check that out too.
Midsommar.
I'm more of a 80s.
Yo, you know what I watched recently?
What?
You know Joe Bob Briggs?
Heard of him.
He used to be on TNT. He used to have this show where it was like drive-in shit. He was like a hillbilly dude, and he would add commentary to like all these 80s and 70s slasher movies. He had a show on TNT, right? But now he's on this. I think he's on the Chiller Network or whatever, and they brought it back. Like people subscribe to it just for this dude. Wow. And my boy recommended that I watch this movie Sleepaway Camp.
Sleepaway Camp, yeah. With Angela.
You ever seen it?
Yeah, you've seen it, right?
I watched it the other day, but you gotta watch it with his commentary.
Yeah,
it's fucking great. Cause like I'm watching, I'm like, this is like a cheesy 80s slasher movie, and then the ending bugged me the fuck out.
We gotta call her. WSJU Radio, DJ Mad Max on the airwaves here at St. John's University with Bobby J from Rockaway. You just here in Maintain. And we do have a special caller here on the air. Please introduce yourself and where you're calling from. Oh, what up, Brian? How you doing, bro?
What up, man? We just shouted you out.
We're doing
man.
Good, bro. How you doing?
How's the baby?
Yeah.
Hey, man, get used to it, bro. My brother's doing the same thing, man. So it'll get easier. How's everything though? Good? Oh yeah, man, that's gonna be dope. That's gonna be real dope. That's a dope venue too, man. They got like the ill basement down there. It's like some real grimy hip hop stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to I think it's Rap FM helps put it together. Yeah, man.
So how's the show going, Ryan? Everything's going good? Wow.
Wow, that's crazy. Shout out to Spig Nice,
Yeah.
LB Fam, Mr. Chiefs.
Free Spig Nice, too.
Damn. Free Spig Nice. Yeah, man.
He should be. And how's Hampton's Dave doing? Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. Shout out Hampton's Dave. Dave is the man. Love that guy.
How's Cheeks? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, man. Cheek stays going overseas, man. Getting that international money. Yeah, man, I need that like Germany plug, that Amsterdam plug. My boy just went to Amsterdam. He sent me a screenshot of some legal mushrooms he was eating. I was like, I gotta get over there, man. Yeah, in Amsterdam, like they sell shrooms in cafes and stuff out there. And yeah, and they got a red light district. I'd probably die if I went over there. Man. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I told Ryan before because he was getting in because we had what was it, the Edible King calling, what was it, Big T, right?
Yeah, man. Shout out Big T.
Because when I had Ryan up here, they were all talking about edibles and stuff, and I said if public safety's tuned in right now, they're gonna be coming in here with the battering ram. They're gonna be
Yo, man, I can't handle those edibles. You already know that, but you know, Big T will eat like 6 edibles in a day, man. I don't know how that kid even stays awake. It's crazy. Yeah, man. I felt anytime I've even eaten half one of those things, I feel like I'm paralyzed, and my anxiety goes through the roof. I'm an anxious person. I can't deal with that. Yeah, man. And then we went back to his house, and his mom was making grilled cheese, and she was smoking weed. It was a weird situation. Yo, me too. That's why I wanted to get out of there, because we were eating those grilled cheeses and I had serious cotton mouth, and there was just too much going on in that kitchen. His mom was making me nervous. No offense, Big T. It's just the weed. You know what I mean? I'm just an anxious person. I was like, dude, we got to get the hell out of here. David Berkowitz.
Oh.
Yo, thanks for calling, man.
Yeah, Ryan, we appreciate it. And I'll be in touch with you, all right, Ryan? We're going to get you back up here, too, all right? Yeah, keep it going.
Yo, man, thank you, bro. Appreciate you, man.
You too,
Right.
Ryan. Shout out to Ryan for calling in.
Shout out to the Ryan Show, man.
Yeah. Shout out to them. Dope show. Go check that out as well. And now that we're back on air here, which I didn't know before, you're a big horror movie fan. So let's get into the nitty gritty on that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm not like an expert or anything,
Okay.
but you know, it's definitely, it's one of my favorite genres. I feel like it's a genre that kind of gets, same thing, like with Kiss, like some people are like super horror fans and then some people don't take it seriously, but I think like, you know, when every so often, there's a lot of bad horror movies made, I'll say that.
Oh,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But every so often you get those
A
one or
gem.
two movies that come out that kind of like change the game, that are like truly original, you know? So I'm always on the hunt, like trying to find good scary movies, especially now that it's October. Like I usually spend most of October like watching horror flicks
Yeah,
and
same.
stuff
I'm the
like
same
that.
way. But all year round, I'm watching horror movies
Yeah.
anyway. So, what are some of your favorite horror movies?
Favorite horror movies. I mean, like, I used to. The thing is, like, I used to not like horror movies. Like, I used to be afraid of them as a kid.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I remember my brother like locked me in a room and made me watch The Exorcist.
Oh wow.
You know, and that was like the scariest thing in the
Movie,
world
yeah.
to me. So, but then like, for some reason, like the thing that scared me as a kid is like what I love watching now. So, I mean, top horror movies. You know, I love The Exorcist,
Yeah,
love The
great
Shining.
film. Great film too. Jack Nicholson.
You know, Suspiria.
Mm.
Honestly, I love Paranormal Activity when it came out. Blair Witch was dope. You know, I like a lot of like the indie hit horror movies that have been coming out recently, like The Witch and Hereditary, and I just saw Midsummer.
Yeah, they're solid films.
You know, so who's the dude that made Midsummer? What's the director's name? Super dope. But he's like, for anyone that likes like Hereditary and Midsummer, those are his newer movies. Go check out this movie. It's a short film. It's called The Strange Thing About the Johnsons that he put out a couple years ago. It's one of the most off-the-wall movies I've ever seen. And it's like a half an hour. Dude is dope. You know what I mean? So anything that's original, I loved Get Out when it came out.
Oh yeah, Jordan Peele. Yeah.
You know, I don't know if I call that one scary, but you know, anything that takes
It's more psychological.
yeah, anything that takes like an original approach. You know, I'm not always into like the jump scares or like the slasher movies. I respect it, but I'm more into like the movies that kind of like are a slow burn, creep you out. You know what I mean? The movies that you're like
Like
thinking
Silence of
about.
the Lambs.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
you're like thinking about.
Seven.
Another great one, Seven. Great. You know, but are those horror movies? That's like a thriller. I guess they're kind of like the same.
Yeah,
thing.
they go in both categories.
You know what I mean? I like those slow burn movies. You know, Midsummer was like that. Hereditary was like that.
Signs.
Signs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm an M. Night Shyamalan fan. Man.
Yeah.
You know,
He's one of the greats.
Sixth Sense was great.
Mm.
Unbreakable is probably my favorite movie
Yeah,
ever did.
that was a good
I even
one.
liked Glass and Split too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't call those horror movies, but he's dope.
I'm a huge slasher guy, so I love Michael Myers.
Yeah, like I mean, I like the iconic '80s movies, and you know, I love Freddy, I love Jason,
Oh, yeah, those.
Chucky. Like you gotta love that stuff. But you know, like I like the originals. Like as they went on, they started to lose some of their,
Yeah.
you know, like they brought like the cheesiness and stuff into it, and
Yeah.
they got really campy. But
What was your favorite slasher?
favorite slasher, Halloween. First Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween is same for me.
Yeah, Halloween is dope.
I like Halloween too.
Halloween 2 is dope.
Halloween 3.
I don't even think I've seen Halloween 3.
It doesn't even have Michael Myers in it. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
For
I
real?
know it's gotten a lot of backlash, but the thing is that John Carpenter wanted to make it an anthology series originally. So once Michael Myers was killed, it was going to be a different subject each movie.
And they wouldn't let him?
They wouldn't let after
because
the
Michael
third one.
Myers was so
Yeah.
popular?
Yeah, they brought him back for 4, which I liked. I liked Halloween 4 a lot. And then they brought him back for 5, and they just went on, so on, so on. And after 5, and even sometimes I do watch The Curse of Michael Myers. After part 6, I'm checked out. I'm done. I mean, H2O, I didn't like. Resurrection, one of the worst films in history. The Rob Zombie Halloweens, don't even get me started.
I was just going to ask, did you watch the reboot?
I'm a purist. Same with
Yeah,
hip hop.
yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
horror movie purist. I can't deal with the remakes.
I don't even think I saw it. Was it like a reimagining or something? Like
Yeah, I like how it went into the backstory of Michael Myers, but I just didn't enjoy the movie as a whole.
Well, didn't they put out another one though
Yeah,
recently with
last
Jamie
year.
Lee Curtis was
Yeah.
in it? I saw that one.
And you know what? I hate it because they
Yeah.
got rid of all the sequels that I enjoyed, which was Halloween 2, Halloween 4, 5,
Yeah.
6 sometimes when I'm in the mood. they did away with all the sequels. The one that they just released last year for 2018 is a direct sequel of the 1978.
Yeah, they
original
disregarded all the other
all
ones,
the,
right?
and I loved the
Yeah.
Halloween 2 and Halloween 4. So I was like, why the hell are you doing that? You know, I sat there and I was angry about it. I walked out of the movie theaters. I thought it was a solid film, but as time went on and as it like fully set in, I just said to myself, yeah, this wasn't better than Halloween 2.
Yeah.
Because Halloween 1978, the original, is always going to be the best, but my favorite is Halloween 2.
Yeah.
Him in the hospital, there's just something about that one I really enjoyed.
I don't really remember 2 that well.
Mhm.
You know, I've seen 1 multiple times.
One is a great film, and it changed horror.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it was an independent, low-budget film. And John Carpenter, you know, this is what makes him the master of horror.
Yeah.
He took what he had and made it into one of the greatest successful films of all time. And he had Jamie Lee Curtis. We didn't know she was going to blow up
Yeah,
at that
exactly.
point. So there you go. He picked her for the role of Laurie Strode, and it was a star.
Yeah, I like
She was a star.
the Thing too.
Oh,
That's-
yeah, with
that's
Kurt
dope.
Russell. That's a
Yeah.
great film.
Yeah, The Thing is fire.
John Carpenter, and I'll even show you a picture because I don't show everyone, but I was planning on doing a throwback because when I was younger, before I got in the whole radio aspect of things, I wanted to be a writer-director for horror movies. So when I was 9 or 10, I wrote all my favorite actors and directors, and I was able to write to John Carpenter, and he wrote me back and sent me an autograph.
Yo, that's crazy.
And I was so happy. I remember when it came, I got it in the mail from coming home from school, and I saw the envelope, and I opened it, and I just dropped onto the ground. I was just like, wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because he's probably my favorite of all time as
Yeah.
writer and directors. Just what he's done for the horror genre, especially with The Thing, The Fog. He's had so many.
I've never seen The Fog.
Fog is another classic, another favorite of mine. So when I saw that autograph and he wrote me back, it meant a lot to me and it inspired me.
That's dope.
Definitely one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah, for real. Changed the game for sure.
Oh yeah, and that's where all the copycats came in.
Did he make Last House on the Left?
No, I was Wes Craven.
Wes
and,
Craven, yeah. I always get them confused.
Yes, and Steve Miner.
Yeah, that one was dope.
Mhm.
Who did I Spit on Your Grave? The original one.
Okay. I actually haven't seen that movie, but I've seen the trailer for it. I'm not 100% sure who did it,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, I couldn't tell you on that one.
Yeah, man.
But Halloween was so impactful for horror that Friday the 13th was almost a copycat of that. Because it came out years later, 4 years later, 2 years later.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about Sleepaway Camp. I think Sleepaway Camp.
Took from Friday the 13th.
No, I think it preceded Friday the 13th.
Oh, it did.
Yeah, I think it came out before,
Mhm.
and that's like one of the that's like kind of like you know, some trivia about, like, people think like that it came after and it was like trying to capitalize on that, but it actually came out first.
I always say this about Sleepaway Camp. I feel as though it's the female version of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Well, which you find out at the end it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Yo, that's
Oh, man.
what was so crazy about
Yeah.
it. It's like my boy was like, "Yo, watch this movie." He's like, "You're gonna like it," and I'm watching. And it's like I'm like this is like a, you know, a cheesy '80s horror movie, like a slasher movie, and then that ending, man, I was like, it kind of freaked me out too because I wasn't expecting it.
Oh,
Like, I was like legitimately like kind
That
of
scream at the
scared.
end?
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, I watched this like a month ago too. Like, you know what I mean? I was just in my living room. I was like, "Oh, what the? What's that?"
What's that? You weren't expecting that.
No,
at the end,
I had
yeah.
no idea that was coming. So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
And you know what? This is why I respect Sleepaway Camp, because it was a different approach. You wouldn't think that at the end of a horror movie. You thought it was
Yeah.
a girl the whole time.
I mean, do
That's-
we want to like ruin the end for people though? Because it's like,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, go check it out, Sleepaway Camp.
yeah,
You'll see. You'll be very stunned.
yeah, exactly.
Any other favorite horror movies or?
Oh, my bad. Ari Aster is the
Oh.
dude who did Hereditary.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you, man, check out The Strange Thing About the Johnsons. Check that one out.
Mm.
Favorite horror movies? I don't know, like, I like anything horror or creepy related. Like I'll go on Reddit and like read like the creepy threads and like the creepy pastas and stuff like
Also,
that. I like
chain
that.
letters and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
or like 2-sentence horror stuff
Yeah.
like that. There's like this thing on the internet called SCP. You know what what SCP is?
What is that?
it's like this like fake wiki site. I think SCP stands for like self-containment or something. It's like a user. How would I even like users contribute to like this lore. They build this lore around this facility that contains all these dangerous things. They could be like a monster or like some strange entity or whatever, and people write these fictional stories about these things that are contained within this facility, and there's like thousands of them. So you just go on the wiki for it, and you just click random stuff, and you get to read the backstory of like, when you open up SCP-135, you know, here's the description of what's in there, and it's written like a scientist is writing it. You know, it's hard to explain, but it's dope. You know what I mean? Like I like all stuff like that too. But yeah, man, it's October, so I'm super into this stuff. Right
Yeah,
now.
same. I'm waiting for AMC Fear Fest schedule to drop here.
Yeah.
I'm into that. Sci-Fi's 31 Days of Halloween.
Yeah.
Even the ABC Family, I can get into that. Freeform. Yeah, I'm definitely looking.
I mean, I'm a
for that.
huge Twilight Zone fan.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Rod Sterling, that's classic.
Yeah, man.
Come on.
I don't like the reboots.
I don't like them either. The original black and whites.
Yeah, like that's. I mean, to me, that's probably like the best show ever made. The original
Twilight Zone, I agree. My favorite episode has got to be with the Living Doll with Talkie Tina.
Yeah, man.
That's
You ever
a good
seen we're going way too off script right
Yeah.
now. Check out this episode called Four Strangers in Search of an Exit. That one's dope.
Mhm.
They actually based a couple horror movies on that premise. I think, you ever seen that movie Cube?
No, that was a good movie.
It's good. It's not great,
Mhm.
but it's like based on that concept. Check out Four Strangers in Search of an Exit. That's like probably my top Twilight Zone episode of all time.
Is that the one where they're in the garbage pail bin?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the one,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's a clown.
There's a clown. There's like a hobo.
A princess.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
the police officer.
Yeah, that
they're
one-
trying to crawl out.
Yeah. That one kind of bugged. The ending's kind of whack. Not really whack, but that one kind of like creeped me out a little bit. I like that one a lot.
The Eye of the Beholder, when the surgeons have the pig faces.
That's a classic.
Yeah.
What is it? The monsters that do on like Mulberry?
Maple Street.
Maple Street.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That one's crazy.
Nightmare 30,000 Feet
Yeah.
with the gremlin.
Yeah, man, those are crazy. I mean, that show is unbelievable.
Oh, it is. Tales from the Crypt is also good too.
You know what? I never really. I used to watch it as a kid, but I don't remember. Like, I would have to rewatch it. I don't remember any of the episodes.
Tales from the Dark Side.
I remember Tales from the Dark Side.
Mhm.
But again, like, because growing up, they always used to have, and they still do, the Twilight Zone marathon on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, New Year's Eve and 4th of July. They still do it on Sci-Fi.
Yeah. But now it's just on Netflix. I just watch it.
Yeah.
You
It's a
know?
great show. And I think black and white films are a lost art,
Yeah, definitely.
you know? I feel as though people don't respect them as they should, and they should do the research kind of like old school hip hop.
Yeah, exactly.
Go back and watch some black and white films. I'm a huge Universal Monsters guy too.
Yeah.
So the
man.
Frankensteins and the Bela Lugosi's.
See, like I never seen those, and it's kind of whack that I haven't. But like I follow this dude on YouTube that's like super. He's like super. He does this.
Dead Meat Channel.
Nah, it's his name. It's Cinemassacre. Is the
Okay.
name of his channel. He does this thing called what is it? He does it every day for during October. He reviews a horror movie. It's called Monster Madness. But like he's a huge Universal monster guy. So like I've seen bits and pieces and heard him talk about it at length, but
Yeah.
I've never actually seen those movies. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like pre 1960s movies, like outside of a couple. Like I'm kind of for some reason I don't really get into them like that. And I know I'm missing out. You know what I mean?
So, what are you going to be getting into this Halloween? Just watching horror movies, probably?
I don't know. I'm always digging. Like I'm always trying to find something that's like, new and original. But it's like I always end up watching the same things. I'm always just trying to find a movie that's like legitimately scary, that like puts a new twist on something. But I usually spend October trying to watch some new horror movies that I haven't seen. I got to get into like the foreign horror movies. You know what I mean? I haven't watched like a lot of like Japanese horror or like French horror or anything like that. So I need to get into that because I know like there's a lot of dope movies that I haven't seen. But again, like my attention span wavers, you know, especially when there's subtitles. So I gotta find some time to actually sit down and watch some stuff I haven't seen.
Agreed. And we're going to take a quick music break. When we come back, we're going to wrap up. We'll be out of here. Sports and Hip Hop with DJ Mad Max. Bobby J from Rockaway is in the building.
Yeah.
On WSJU Radio, St. John's University, Queens, New York. On my own.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we got a lot off script though with the horror movies. We went off. That's the greatest thing about radio though, is you can just go into a totally different direction though.
Yeah, I mean, you should just do a podcast too, man.
Yeah, I have a conspiracies podcast that I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, it'll eventually turn into a horror movie. Like, we'll start talking about a horror movie and get on the basis of it. We always end up in
What's
horror.
your favorite conspiracy?
My favorite conspiracy. Oh.
Well, what's a conspiracy that you believe unequivocally to be true?
The Mothman.
Yo, the Mothman prophecy is
Yeah, that was a Richard
freaky
Gere
movie too.
That was scary.
You believe in the Mothman?
Yeah. I think
Watch the show. I actually watched the shit last night. Watch a show called Haunted on Netflix. So, I don't know if it's real, but it's like real testimonials from people that like have experienced like paranormal shits. Like the first episode is like this guy talking about moving into this new apartment complex with his parents. Like they were poor, they couldn't really afford to live in like a big house, whatever. And the apartment that they moved in, the woman murdered her kids in the bathtub and then hung herself in the closet. And he talks about from like a real young age, every night for 6 years while he was living there, he would be woken up in the middle of the night by his closet door opening, and he'd see this woman hanging in his closet.
Every night for 6 years?
He said she started to like terrorize him. You know, the guy's telling the story, and he's like around. It cuts back to cuts from reenactments, like well done reenactments, to him sitting around with like his family and close friends. And this guy's like mad distraught, like crying and shit, like. And this woman has been terrorizing him his whole life. So like, he's like, I moved away. You know, I moved to another town. I started making new friends. I thought it was over. Then this woman reappeared. And,
She followed him?
Wow. And at the end, when she reappeared, I was riding my bike. I got hit by a car, almost died. She appeared to him at some point like he was outside of like where he worked. And he had like, I guess like a heart attack or something. And they shocked him back to life. And, you know, basically this woman has been like trying to kill him his whole life. And he's like, you know, it's only a matter of time before she actually like succeeds. And they're like, so, you know, has she come back? Like, you know, was that the last time you saw her? He's like, nah, I saw her a couple days ago. And like, you know, he's sitting there with his daughter's crying. I don't know, man. Could be good actors. But yo, it's fucking freaky.
That's
man.
scary.
And then they got some dope episodes. Like whether you know, they say it's a true story, they say everyone's telling the truth. Whether this shit is for real, I don't know, but they got some fucking, it's a compelling watch.
They have some good content.
Yeah, it's a compelling watch.
It is.
Say that.
I'm very interested in checking that out. Let's get back to it. WSJU Radio, 948. Mad Max back in the airways there with Bobby J from Rockaway on my own. Produced by Kwame.
Yeah, man.
And his product is in the booth with me. 718-993-758, the call-in number for WSJU Radio. So what's next for Bobby J? What is next?
Well, I got a project that I'm working on with a producer. And that's really all I want to say about it right now. But that's pretty much done at this point. You know, just got to get some stuff mixed and mastered.
When can we possibly expect it?
Probably November.
Early Christmas gift?
Yeah, maybe like around Thanksgiving, maybe early Christmas, you know, but you know, just trying to figure out, you know, how I'm going to market it, put it out and everything. You know, I'm also trying to let this album breathe. Might try and do, you know, another video for something off Summer Classics before I release this one. But, you know, like I said before, I feel like in this day and age, if you're not putting out something every 3 to 4 months, you know, it's not like back in the day where you could drop one album a year.
Yeah.
You know, you better have a project, you know, every 3 to 4 months, and you know what, that's attainable because you don't have to do a full length album.
No.
You know, you could do EPs and release singles and stuff like that. So it's the rules have changed, and you know, I'm just trying to go along with the times, you know, and it's good because it keeps me productive, keeps me on my feet, keeps me writing. So, you know, expect new music within the next month or so.
And I'll be looking forward to that. Anything else you want to close out with today?
Yo, man, just thanks for having me.
Oh,
on.
you already know.
Appreciate
You're always
it.
welcome up
Yeah,
here.
man, like this was fun. It was cool to like, you know, not only talk music but like talk other random stuff that I'm interested in. You know, it's rare that I find people that are into like hip hop and horror movies and we just talk about conspiracy theories, like. So you know what I mean? Like this is dope. You know, I appreciate the support. You know, it's dope to be at St. John's in Queens, like being a Queens native. You know, and just have support from the station and you guys, you know, represent like the real hip hop. You guys represent the stuff that I grew up on, the stuff that I like. So, you know, shout out to everybody listening. Shout out to everybody who's, you know, got the album, who's listened to the album, who's, whether you downloaded it, whether you stream it, whatever. You know, Summer Classics is out now. Anybody who's listening that likes what they hear, hit me up on Instagram at Bobby J From Rockaway. I try to get back to everybody that gets at me. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So yeah, look forward to new music coming soon.
And I want to thank Greg again, one of
shout out
the
to Greg.
best managers in the game.
Shout out to Greg. Shout out to Sean. You know, Greg is you know, best manager in the world.
Oh,
man.
he's
You know.
really great to deal with.
Yeah,
I sent him
man.
the date. He confirmed it right there, and you're in good hands with Greg.
Yeah, man.
Yes, and I want to thank you again for coming out to the show tonight.
Thank you.
Talking up with summer classics, horror movies, much more music as usual.
Exactly.
And yeah, I just wish nothing but the best for you in your upcoming performances. I'll be looking forward to that. I'll even pop
Yeah,
out if
October 2nd, Brooklyn Bowl. It's me, Lyrics Born, and Combrio. Should be super dope. You know what I mean? You can come hang out, get some food, drink, bowl, watch the show. It'll be a good time.
I can. Yes, sir. Bobby J, thanks again for coming out to the show.
Yo, thank you.
Yes, sir. Summer Classics is available on all platforms. Make sure you go download it. Stream it, but download it most of all. Got to get that money's worth in and represent that real hip-hop. And as we were talking horror movies earlier, stay tuned to my Instagram for some horror shows coming up here at WSJE Radio. Some big announcements. And tomorrow night I'm on the set as well for my show with Marco. And the real Max, DJ Mad Max, is signing off here at WSG Radio, St. John's University, Queens, New York. Bobby J for president, all the way.